What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ike Way, and today I'm going to talk about the one and only Salesforce Data Loader. In this video, I'm going to talk about what it is, how to use it, and stick around to the end. I will give a few advanced tips to make you a Data Loader Pro. So, what is the Data Loader? The Data Loader is a tool that allows you to make mass changes to the data in your Salesforce org. Now that means with just a few clicks, you can mass update, delete, export, and insert new records into your org. The best part about all this, it's free. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the Data Loader. Admittedly, the Salesforce Data Loader is a little bit outdated looking. It kind of looks like a Windows 95 application. However, hear me out. It is very powerful, easy to use, and sexy. In order to get started with the Data Loader, you basically need to have two things ready. And the first is credentials. If you're going to make mass changes to an org, you need to have the credentials to get into that org. And the second, you need a CSV spreadsheet. So how do you get this CSV spreadsheet? Well, there are two most common ways. The first is, simply put, export a report from Salesforce. Find a report, export it. When it's in a CSV Excel file, you'll make the changes and make sure it's saved. That's probably the most common way to do it. Otherwise, if you're a little bit more fancy, you can use the Data Loader to export information. You'll just need a SQL query and it will export a CSV for you. So let's do a quick demo. Let's say your marketing team just finished a really successful webinar. And from this event, they've generated a ton of great prospect accounts. And now that they've collected a big list of new prospect accounts, they want all the new prospect accounts in Salesforce by tomorrow, and they want you to make sure all the data is in there. Good news, with the Data Loader, this is a real simple task, and let me show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm on my desktop. Let's make sure that the spreadsheet is ready. So here is the spreadsheet that marketing gave us. It has about 75 records. It's just sample data. And these are the accounts that we want to import into the org. Next, we'll want to open up the Data Loader, and we're going to pick the type of action that we want to do. In this case, we want to insert. It's going to ask you to sign into your org. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now that I'm signed in, it's going to ask you to pick the object that you want to add records or update records to. In this case, it's the account. Finally, it's going to ask you to pick the file that you have prepared that gives the Data Loader the directions on what to do to your data. Press OK. Here it's asking to map the columns in your spreadsheet to the fields in Salesforce. So Data Loader does a good job of making this easy. If you click on Create or Edit a Map and then Auto Match Fields, it's going to do its best to map your columns to the appropriate field. You'll see I'm missing one, so if I didn't find it, I'll search it. And I can just drag and drop down. Simple. Just make sure you double check. And looks good. Pro tip, in your columns, if you end up using the API label, usually the Data Loader will do a better job matching your data. Press Next to proceed. And that's it. Now you just sit back and watch the magic happen. All right, now that we've finished with the Data Loader, let's see the results. So if I open up my Salesforce org, here were the records that were originally in my report. Now I just added about 75 new ones. So if I just press Edit and rerun this report, we're going to see that all those records are now in just a few clicks. So it's very easy. So in my example, I just used 75 records that I uploaded, but the data loader is capable of updating and inserting up to 5 million records. Being able to work with 5 million records in just a few clicks is really powerful and really dangerous. So always update in Sandbox first. Here are some extra tips to make you a data loader pro. In the data loader, if you open the settings, if you look at the bottom, if you see start at row, you can actually say which row in your spreadsheet that you want the data loader to start at. So let's say maybe you canceled after updating up to 100 rows in a previous data loader job that you did. And now you want to resume at 101. Well, if you don't want to re-update those records, and if you don't want to adjust your spreadsheet, you can just type in where you want to start it, and it will start and resume at that row. Next, if you look at the top where it says batch size, so you can adjust the batch size, which means that the data loader processes larger or smaller amounts of records at a time. So this is really useful if you know there's a lot of automation in your org. Maybe in your system you have a lot of flows or process builders, workflows that you know will run once a record is updated. If you don't want to overload the system, you can adjust this to maybe something that might be a little more manageable. When I do this and I know there's automation running and I'm okay with that, I like to switch it to something like 10. And this will just help mitigate risk and help mitigate any errors. So that's all. I hope you love the data loader just as much as I do. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips or maybe if I missed anything that you know about the data loader. I would love to learn them, and I hope to see you in the next one.